Ma'am, today kino-commemorate yung EDSA anniversary, but then some are saying na bakit hindi siya na-declare as non-working holiday gaya dati. May we know the wisdom of Malacanang, bakit idiniretso from since I think 2023, hindi na siya na-declare as non-working holiday.
Yes, as of now, February 25 is declared a special working day. And I think it is the prerogative of the President. And when we say special working day, still, there is encouragement to people to commemorate, to join any event. And it will not hinder any activity to commemorate the EDSA People Power.
But isn't this an effort, ma'am, from Malacanang para kasi yung mga critics sinasabi na gusto nang burahin yung part na to ng history ng bansa?
Okay, again, yan na naman ay kanilang mga opinion sa mga balak na tumuligsa sa Pangulo at sa pamahalaan. Unang-una, isipin po natin, mayroon po bang pinahinto ang Pangulo na anumang activity na patungkol dito sa commemoration ng EDSA People? Since the time po na siya ay naging Pangulo, wala po tayong nadinig na anumang pagpapahinto ng anumang events, no? Any activities na maaaring mag-commemorate ng nasabing event. And at the same time, pansinin po natin paano po mabubura ang history. History is history. So hindi po kakayanin po lang ng presidente na ito ay mabura sa ating history.
Pero what do you want to tell those universities and colleges na nag-decide to suspend their classes today to commemorate the EDSA anniversary?
They are given the freedom to do that. Kaya po hindi natin sinasabing ang Pangulo ay humahadlang sa anumang balaki ng anumang organisasyon, universidad, sa kanilang mga gagawing activities. So kung balak po nila talaga na sila ay walang klase, it's up to them. Free po sila to do that.
A related question.
Even
Sorry,
Medina.
Asik Dale. Isn't this undermining the gains of the EDSA revolution and diminishing its spirit and essence?
No, I don't think so. We don't think so. Why? Sabi ko nga po kanina, if there is the intention to erase the memories of EDSA People Power, ibang klaseng pamamaraan ang gagawin. As a matter of fact, we declared it as a special working day, but it is considered just a regular working day. But what's the purpose of a special working day? It's to encourage people to join any event kung kanilang kailangang i-commemorate ang isang affair.
One final point on this issue. Having said all that, ano ho ang pahayag ng Malacanang sa araw na ito? The President normally releases statements to communicate to the people, to commemorate whatever that particular holiday is all about. So ano po ang pahayag ng Malacanang sa araw na ito?
As of now, yung pa lang po, dineclare lang po na ito ay special working day. And I think it means a lot to all the people. You are encouraged to go out, to do your activities, to commemorate the EDSA People Power.
Raquel Bayan,
Thank you.
Radyo Pilipinas.
Yusek, can we get Malacanang reaction po on the exemption of Philippine security funding from the freeze aid, foreign aid freeze of US?
Of course, natutuwa po tayo, nagkaroon nga po ng direktiba ang si US President Trump na 90 days magkakaroon ng i-freeze ang foreign aid. So kung nagkaroon po tayo ng exemption at nagkaroon po tayo at ibibigay po at i-release ang $500 million foreign Filipino financing sa atin, ito po ay napakalaking bagay at nagpapasalamat po tayo sa suporta na yan. Tandaan po natin, ito pa ay mula sa pamahalaan po ni dating Pangulo na US President Biden at ito pa rin po ay pinagtibay din po sa panahon po ni President Donald Trump. So masarap po na makatanggap ng ganitong good news at ang suporta po ng US sa atin ay hindi po mapapasubali.
But Yusek, with or without po itong funding ng US from US to the Philippines, can we categorically say na on track pa rin po yung AFP modernization natin?
Of course, hindi natin to isasabalang baliwala. Napaka-importante po ng AFP modernization. But of course, with the additional help, mas malaki pong bagay ang maitutulong ito.
Next question. Choneyu, People's Journal.
Good morning, ma'am. Ma'am, dun sa impeachment kay Vice President Sara Duterte, can the President call for a special session even without the request ng Senate?
Para pong the way we see it, it would be an awkward position on the part of the President to voluntarily call for special session, considering that there is this ongoing intrigues that the President is behind the impeachment proceedings. So it is better for the Senate to request the President, considering that even the President made this pronouncement that if the Senate will ask him to call for a special session, he will do so.
Pero ma'am, yung word na forthwith, yung immediate, isn't it enough basis to call for a special session?
Okay. Marami pong ano dito, marami pong mga iba-ibang klase ng opinion. But if you will look and read the provisions of the Constitution, you will see po, to forthwith proceed. Alright? Pero wala pong makikitang time element. Is it to forthwith proceed even during recess? Because they can proceed definitely if there is session. There's no question about that. But to proceed during recess, gray area po yan sa Constitution. So they may forthwith proceed after the recess. Pag may session po, walang problema eh. They have to do. But during the recess, wala po sinasabi ng Constitution na you have to call for special session to proceed with the impeachment proceedings or with the impeachment trial. Wala po kasing gano'n nakasabi sa Constitution.
Last na lang, ma'am. If and when merong special session, is it legal to call magkaroon ng impeachment trial? Is it legal na magkaroon ng special session considering na the agenda is limited sa impeachment trial, hindi yung sa legislation?
Meron din po dalawang school of thoughts dyan. Pero kung papasinin niyo po ang Constitution, the President may call special session anytime. So with that, hindi lang po ito limitado sa kung may urgency patungkol sa bill or legislation, but we believe it is also it includes also the impeachment trial. Kasi it's anytime without any condition.
May request na ba ngayon, ma'am?
Wala pa po kami natatanggap.
Thank you.
Ana Badjo, GMA News Online.
Good morning po, ma'am. Ma'am, may we get confirmation kung meron po tayong change of leadership sa PSC?
As of now, wala pa. Still under evaluation. Wala pa pong nangyayaring pagtatanggal, transition, transfer of position. Wala pa po.
So si Sir Morales pa rin po yung ating PSC chief, ma'am.
Yes, opo.
How about po may rumors po kasi napapalitan din po si Secretary Ivan Uy. May we get palace.
Yes, the president is still evaluating if there's a need for change of leaders on each department. So wala pa po tayo, under evaluation pa po lahat. Thank you.
Po, ma'am.
Alvin
sir.
Baltasar.
Yusek, magandang umaga po.
Good morning po.
Sa pagkakabanggit nyo doon sa huling sinagot nyo doon sa tanong, apparently parang hindi lang ang DICT ang ine-evaluate. Meron pa po bang ibang department?
Pagdating po kasi kay Sir Ivan, wala pa rin po kaming na-receive na information. So kung meron man pong magiging balasahan, lahat po siguro kami dito ay under evaluation.
Thank you, Yusek.
Eden Santos, Net25.
Good morning po, ma'am.
Morning po.
Po. Sabi niyo po kahapon ba yun nung unang harap niyo sa MPC, nalalabanan po natin ng fake news. Ayan, may mga sa post po ni former Senate President Juan Ponce Enrile, binabanggit niya yung mga fake news, yung mga kinakalat, lalo na sa SOCMED. Ano po? hanggang saan po ba you will make patol dun sa mga fake news na sinasabi ninyo na ibinabato po ng mga kalaban ng administrasyon? At sa tingin niyo po ba ang Pangulong Marcos ang nauna sa sisimula po ng mga negative campaign, kaya naman dumami yung mga parang in a way sinasagot lang din po ng mga opposition, kung opposition man matatawag yung grupo po ng mga kalaban sa politika?
Unang-una po, thank you. Nice question. Unang-una po, ang sasagutin lang natin ay yung mga intriga na may sense. Kung wala naman, walang meaning, walang sense, hindi po natin to sasagutin. Okay? At patungkol po kung saan nauna ang Pangulo sa pagbabatikos, it's just part of the campaign propaganda. And wala naman po siyang pinatungkulan kung sino. Madami pong kandidato. Ang nagtataka lang po ulit tayo kung bakit may nag-aray. Hindi naman sila yung pinatutungkulan. Kumbaga, bato-bato sa langit, tamaan, wag magalit. Bakit may nagalit? May tinamaan ba? So, pag sinabi natin kasi, ito, we know na pag sinabi natin nag-deliver ng suka, nagbumili lang ng suka, hindi naman ito literally na suka. Na, idiom. It's just an idiom. Na sinabi na, when you say nag-deliver ng suka, it means baguhan. Wala pang alam masyado sa politika o sa proseso, sa trabaho. Kung kayo tatanungin ko, maski naman kayo siguro alam nyo, maraming kandidato na hindi alam ang trabaho ng pagiging senador. Kung tinamaan sila at tumatakbo sila at alam nating wala silang alam, yun na lang, siguro, ouch. And at the same time, dapat, hindi nga sila tumakbo. Kasi hindi pwedeng gawing magpaka-apprentice sa pagiging senador. Nakita natin siguro kung anong naging klase ngayon ng paano ang nangyayari minsan sa mga hearing, especially kung hindi nila alam ang procedure sa Senado. Isang kawalan, sayang ang oras, kawalan ito sa pondo ng bayan. So sana lang, ang request natin, doon sa mga tatakbo, siguraduhin nyo naman po kapag nanalo kayo, may alam na kayo. Yun lang
Another
po.
issue lang po, yung study pong ginawa ng Philippine Institute for Development Studies o yung PIDS or PIDS, sabi po Philippine lags behind ASEAN neighbors in transport infrastructure. Sa tingin niyo po ba itong mga existing na mga transportation na infra projects at saka yung mga program ng mga concerned government agencies are not enough, hindi po nakakatulong para mas lalo pang mapaayos yung ating transportation system dito sa Pilipinas?
Well, in general, ang gobyerno ay hindi naman kikilos ng kulang-kulang. May mga pagkakataon siguro, may mga factors na may nadidelay, but definitely we will do our best para gampanan lahat ang ating trabaho at kung ano ang naipangako natin sa taong bayan.
Thank you po.
Jean Mangaluz, Philstar.
Good morning. I'd like to follow up on Ma'am Eden's question. Former Senate President Tito Soto said that he would legalize a bill, he would push for a bill banning fake news. So what's the palace's position on this, especially since there's a new PCO secretary?
Siguro naman kahit po hindi palasyo ang tanungin natin, gugustuhin po talaga natin na maban ang fake news. And personally, when I was one of the resource persons dito sa TRICOM, I even suggested for a registration of all content creators to avoid this kind of fake news.
How will we balance that na baka ma-impede on the freedom of expression, the freedom of the press?
Okay. We have to define first. There will be a law. If they will make such law, they have to define what's fake news. And what's the limitation, how they can gauge that those statements will be considered as fake news. So as of now, wala pa po tayong definite na definition ng fake news, especially nasa social media tayo, digital tayo eh. So we have to study that, especially mga lawmakers, they have to study that.
Sam Medinilla, Business Mirror.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Opo.
Ma'am, mag-follow up lang po ako regarding po dun sa na-mention nilang evaluation ng mga cabinet members. Kailan po nag-initiate si President ng evaluation na yun? And kailan natin expected matapos?
As of now, ang pagkakasabi po sa atin ay nag-i-evaluate pa. So, kung kailan matatapos, hindi natin din alam kung magkakaroon talaga ng revamp. So, we have to just wait and see. Hindi pa po natin alam kung ano po yung mangyayari as of now.
Pero nanggaling po yung evaluation na yun kay Pangulo or parang meron po.
I-evaluate pa lang po. I-evaluate. Siguro lahat po ngayon kasi every time kailangan naman mag-evaluate ng Pangulo eh. Kung kanyang mga secretaries, cabinet members are doing well for the government, for the people. So, pag nakita po ng Pangulo na, oops, mukhang hindi ito makakatulong, we have to find a new leader and it's for the people. Pero as of now, wala pa po talaga.
Pero related po ba to dahil midterm na ni Pangulo? Or ginagawa niya to regularly every year?
Pag lang po siguro may nakitang dapat na palitan.
Ayun. Tapos,
Or may mga nag-resign. May mga nagre-resign. We cannot do anything about that.
Tapos last question na lang po. Regarding po dun sa USAID, na-assess na po ba ng government yung total impact? Kasi previously na-mention ng NEDA na parang yung regarding lang sa mga initiatives at projects nila yung kaya nilang bigyan ng opinion. Yung pagdating po sa buong government, meron po ba tayong parang assessment na nung impact nung suspension ng USAID?
Wala pa po tayong anumang reaksyon patungkol dyan. Pero the mere fact po na na-exempt po tayo at tayo po ay kumbaga hindi ma-freeze yung foreign aid sa atin, yun po, napakalaki na pong epekto nun para sa bansa natin sa tulong, yung mga tulong na ito.
Thank you po.
Pia Gutierrez, ABS-CBN.
Hi, ma'am. Ma'am, follow-up lang dun sa evaluation. So, can we say na yung mga recent changes sa cabinet ng Pangulo ay a result of that evaluation?
Okay, may mga leaders po, may mga cabinet members po kasi na nagre-resign. So, ang Pangulo po naman ay hindi naman po makakatanggi kung talaga pong gusto na ng isang cabinet member o na secretary na like po, Secretary Cesar Chavez, voluntary po yung resignation niya, so wala po tayong magagawa kung hindi talaga maghanap ng kanyang kapalit. So, ganun lang po yung nangyayari. Pero sabi nga po natin, as of now, kung ini-evaluate pa ang kung sino papalitan or kung may papalitan, wala pa po tayo nadidinig. Nag-i-evaluate pa lang po. It's just normal for the President.
Speaking po ng changes sa PCO, what other changes can we expect pagdating po sa leadership ng PCO? Nabanggit po kahapon si Transportation Secretary Vince Dizon ask yung mga USECs to submit courtesy resignation. Meron na po bang ganong klaseng order si Secretary J. Ruiz?
As of now, wala pa po tayo natanggap but nagkaroon na po ng meeting at sinabi niya po talaga na magkakaroon ng pagbabago. At maaaring may ma-retain, maaaring may mawala. So, hintayin po natin kung ano yung magiging order ni Sec. J. Ruiz.
Thank you po.
Melvin Gascon, Inquirer.
Hi, good morning,
Yes,
ma'am.
good morning po.
Since you mentioned po si Secretary, former Secretary Chavez, he issued a statement saying na one of the reasons that he resigned is to his estimation, he fell short of what was expected of him. Mang question ko po is, what will Secretary J. Ruiz do differently para po ma-compensate kung ano man po yung pagkukulang na nakita ni Secretary Chavez?
Actually, I think it's Secretary J. Ruiz who should be answering this. But I believe that we will be proactive in performance. We will do the best we can to impart the truth, to tell to the people what are the programs, what the programs will be of the president for the interest of the people. But I think it is better be answered by Secretary J. Ruiz.
Tuesday New, DZBB.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning po.
Naobserbahan po namin na 3 years ang Marcos administration so far, pero 4 na po yung secretaries natin na umupo sa Presidential Communications Office. Ano po kaya ang hinahanap ba ni Presidente na leader ng PCO at hindi nasasatisfy yung kanyang requirements para doon sa position kung meron man siyang gusto talagang standard para sa PCO?
Hindi ko po masasabing hindi naman nasasatisfy ang Pangulo sa mga napili niyang liderato, mga leaders. Most probably, and actually I cannot speak for other cabinet members or other secretaries na naging nag-lead ng PCO. Maybe sa sarili nila, katulad ni sabi niyo nga po ni Secretary Cesar Chavez, feeling niya na hindi niya nagampan ng mabuti or may kakulangan. But as far as the president is concerned, we believe that he is not complaining. It's more on the people and the leaders who resign, maybe thinking that they could not do properly, completely, the task given to them.
I think we don't have any more questions, Yusek.
Okay?
That wraps up our briefing for this morning. Maraming salamat, Malacanang Pescar. Maraming salamat, Yusek Castro.
Thank you.
And magandang umaga po.
As promised, Pag meron, oo. Po. Ay.
Sana last na to. Na PCO secretary.
Ay, ganun ba? Thank you, thank you. Sana magampanan ko po.
Thank you na.
Thank you na.